Hey, we back with another banger video, man. I got some great videos for y'all today, man. Make sure y'all go grab y'all some water, whatever it is y'all doing, y'all watch my videos, man. Come and rock with your boy. Thank you guys for all the support, man. I can't thank you guys enough, but hey, let's get to the video, man.
Well, in the span of 24 hours, there have been 17 earthquakes near Area 51. It started with a 4.4 magnitude quake just 2.5 miles underground. The area is normally not prone to earthquakes this shallow, and it's leading to theories of nuclear testing or even UFOs, because it all happened after President Trump said this.
Do you have an update on the UFO files and when we're going to be seeing those?
Well, I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. They want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material, and we're going to be releasing a lot of things from that we have, and I think some of it's going to be very interesting.
Joining us now to respond, Dr. Stephen Greer, UFO researcher in retired position. Great to see you, Doctor. So are these earthquakes just a version of burning the files at an embassy when people got to get out?
Well, you know, the thing that lights up in my mind is that back in the 1990s, I briefed a man who worked and designed a security apparatus at some of the facilities out there, particularly the ones up near Groom Lake and Pahut Mesa. And he explained that on the top of those complexes underground were like bunker busting type bombs, but underneath them were thermonuclear devices, so that if anybody was getting close to those facilities, and by this, it could even be the legal government of the United States, they could collapse those facilities. Now, I don't know that that's what happened, but I know for a fact those security systems are out there. So that's one consideration. Now, it could just be a cluster of earthquakes, or they could be doing some legitimate underground testing out in that region.
Yeah, there are a lot of mountains out there, so earthquakes are not out of the question. Well, in the span of
That's pretty weird. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. Why is all 17 earthquakes around this area? Why is this happening at this time? You know, that's kind of awkward. 17? Come on, man.
McDonald's serves, this is where I want you to do your own critical thinking on this, and don't immediately reject it, just let it sink in for a second. McDonald's serves 69 million people a day. How many farms have you passed where there would be enough beef lining up for slaughter for that number to match feeding 69 million people a day?
Yeah, because they kind of like advertise. They're like, yeah, we serve, and it's on their sign, we serve this many million burgers a day.
Oh, it doesn't say burgers, it says people. It literally says,
oh my God,
we serve this many people per day.
And to us, I've always said that
like, oh, they're serving the people.
Ew.
No, they're serving people.
But when you think, okay, let's think about it. There's not enough. Why have I not thought about this before?
There's not enough beef being processed. And this has been
in the
confirmed by
that's
farmers. That's 69 million people a day. McDonald's.
That's crazy though, but on the other note, even if you serving that many people a day, you would have to have the people to supply that amount, which I don't think that's possible either. So I know that this meat that they serving ain't real. It's fake. You know what I'm saying? But it could be possible they serving people. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. It's allegedly. But I know this. Since I saw that CEO wouldn't even eat a burger, I stopped eating McDonald's at that day. I have not been there since. Straight up.
Now everybody keep asking me, where them pictures of Gitmo? I want to see the pictures. I keep telling them, it's on my page and everything is labeled. You just got to look for it. But once again, if you want me to show you back to this lady right here, I want you to check something out. It was at this time, there she goes, right there, that they get her. See you later. Yeah, she didn't want to go, but she had to go. Once again, like I said, here we go again. There was her last meal. Now y'all tell me what y'all think about this. Put your comment in the comment sections, and y'all follow for more. Peace.
Now we all know something weird up with her. Just straight up. She just weird.
I just got another message from my military buddy, and if he's right, this is the calm before something massive. Follow and watch till the end because the signs are already showing. He didn't say much this time, just sent a picture of gear being loaded into aircraft hangars. And this line, we're being positioned, not trained, positioned. He said units that should be rotating out are being held, and forward bases that were empty are suddenly staffed, quietly, without public notice. Why? He doesn't know for sure, but he said the briefings feel different. And the weirdest part, in the last 48 hours, commercial flight maps have shown temporary no-fly zones appear and then vanish. Certain encrypted radio channels are suddenly active again, and there's even rumors of strategic fuel shipments rerouted inland. Nobody's reporting it, but it's happening. He ended his message with just one line. It's not a drill, just be ready. What does that mean? Ready for what, and why now? You know what, maybe it's nothing. But if you start seeing movement, military, financial, or otherwise, pay attention. In spite of the silence, always be watching.
Hey, just know this. Jesus coming back soon, and make sure y'all know him. Straight up.
Video right here you should not be seeing, because this is leaked footage of the top elites dining with extraterrestrials. Now the camera was inside of a pen of a waiter that was working there. Video right here you should.
Hey, that's wild right there, no lie.
This guy right here reached out to me recently asking me for my help. If you guys don't know who this guy is, you guys need to listen up. So here's what happened. He recorded this video right here where he saw a Coast Guard on the scene in Myrtle Beach, and there's something crazy that was happening in the water. As you can see right here, there's some dark circle right there, and this is actually a submarine right off of the shore in Myrtle Beach, which is insane. Look at how close it is to the people swimming over here. And then he continued to film the Coast Guard sending 2 people up in a parachute so they can get a bird's eye view on the submarine in the water. And these guys didn't expect this guy called Upcharge to film this interaction. They thought that they were doing this all secretly and in private. Well, little did he know that he was going to be on the run for days. Black SUVs following him wherever he goes. He has been on the run for a few days now ever since that video, and here's why. He got contacted by a private party asking him to send him all the video that he has of this interaction because they wanted to destroy this video. And he told them that he wants $250,000 for this video, and they didn't want to pay him that. So that sent him to flee because people have been following him wherever he has been. He doesn't feel safe, and they've been following him, trying to get a hold of him, capture him, take these videos from him, and destroy them because nobody should have seen these interactions. It's insane that they just won't leave him alone, and they have been following him with black SUVs. He's been on the run on the water. They've been following him in boats. He's been running through the woods. There's people just following him wherever he goes because they're trying to get a hold of him, but they can't catch him. So as you see here, he's been running through the woods. He's been camping out. He's been looking for a good place to hide, which led him to reach out to me personally because I am a car transport guy and I transport vehicles all over the United States. Here's my rig here behind me. He asked me for my help, but obviously I told him that there's going to be a price to my help. So what he wanted me to do was actually drop him off a vehicle from one of my loads, and it had to be a super secret vehicle so that nobody knew what it was. And this is actually a photo of the load. I actually swung by the woods where he was running away from. I dropped the vehicle off for him, he hopped in, and he drove away. So currently he's on the run in a vehicle, but nobody knows exactly what vehicle he's driving. He was trying to get me to do it for about $10,000, but I told him, listen man, I'm dealing with some crazy stuff here. I don't want to be involved with the Coast Guard. This is going to cost you. So I told him it was going to cost him around $65,000, and I can drop that vehicle there for him. And that's going to cover the vehicle price of $30,000 and then $30,000 for me. So that's what we did. Dropped him off the vehicle. I don't think they'll find him anymore because he is currently on a run in a vehicle. He's probably on the other side of the country now. So that's what I helped Upcharge guy with, and pretty much I upcharge guy. So He is on the run in a vehicle now, and nobody will ever find him, and nobody knows what vehicle he's in. So I think I did him a big favor. And yeah, make sure you check his story out on his name is Upcharge on TikTok. Crazy situation, guys. We need to make this known, and they need to stop this manhunt on this guy. This guy.
That's weird. I wonder what's up with the submarine. You know what I mean? Or is this true? But yeah, we got to check out Upcharge guy.
I bring you a message few of you will be able to believe, a message of great importance, a message I alone was able to read in the fires of the universe. But be not afraid, my friends. I also bring you the means with which to save yourselves. Save us from what? From the end of the world, friend. Which I don't expect you to believe. But the rest of you, those who want to be alive tomorrow morning, I will tell you tonight. Remember that. Bring your friends here. I'll tell you tonight so that you will be able to prepare. What are you selling, Mr. Snake Oil? The world will come to a flaming end at midnight tonight. Without my help and knowledge, every one of you will be dead.
Now, it's crazy how he got the star and the moon behind him. We know that's the star represents Horus, and the moon is Isis, if I'm not mistaken. It's the same symbol that's on the flag of the Muslim flag. And also when you look at Catholicism, in Catholicism, when you look at the fake Jesus picture that they have, is a moon behind them. It's all pagan. You know what I'm saying? But the only person that can save you from the end of the world is Jesus Christ. I just want to say that. That's the only person. Nobody's not escaping it. I don't care how many billionaires, how many bunkers the billionaires build underground or the ground under the underground. I don't care what you do. Nobody ain't escaping it. The only person that can save you from that day is Jesus Christ. They put it before our face. They have to. You know what I'm saying?
We're kind of preparing the U.S. population, at least, and by extension, the world population, into that reality that there is a presence here, and that we need to explain this presence. Because if they show up and we continue to do what we did before in previous decades, and they show up, there will be mass panic. But if you understand that these are real, and we have 5 years from 2022, or maybe now 4 years, if they come in 2027, for the U.S. government to prepare the people about what is up there. And in many ways, I think the word got out within the government that they're showing up in 2027, and we better be prepared. And if not, there's going to be a lot of explaining to do. And so I think that dialogue has happened within inside the government, in certain areas inside the government, that we need to prepare. And that's why in 2017, that set a clock of 10 years. And why Lou Elizondo earlier in this year said, just find a hobby for 5 years. And, it'll all be out in 5 years. And he said that this year. So that was 2027. Huh. And I would say I've heard 2027 in a kind of an official capacity that I can't reveal. So I think I would say that people in the government are aware of something happening, and that there's limited time, a few more years to prepare the people, and that's what's ramping up this acceleration from the previous 7 decades of not even acknowledging it to now we are acknowledging it at a faster and faster pace. We're kind of,
all right, we're gonna see if we see these Nephilims, you know, which they call extraterrestrials, whatever. But we're gonna see if we see them in 2027. That's what we're hearing, I guess.
Okay, hold on a second. Do you know what it says on the tombstone of Werner von Braun, one of the top scientists at NASA? So this is a guy who spent his entire life developing rockets. He came from Germany. He was working on apparently the V2 rocket over there. He even made the cover of Time magazine and was around for multiple missions to space. So what does it say on his tombstone? Psalms 19:1. Are you familiar with this verse? The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. The firmament. The firmament. The firmament. Not a verse about planets and space, because there is none.
God told us how the world was built. Let's just believe him. Let's believe what the word says. Point blank, man. Come on. Is this real? Okay, that's kind of weird, but one thing we do know about crows is crows represents evil spirits. If you see crows inhabiting the area, that means it is some spiritual going on in that area. You know what I mean? You should pray. But it's crazy because as soon as you pray, they just disperse. You know what I mean?
Hi, do you believe in time travel? If you don't, I'm going to need you to explain to me what the heck was going on with Andrew Carlson. Our boy Andrew took an investment of $800 in the stock market and turned it into $350 million. I mean, obviously he got arrested because they figured he's got to have some kind of insight. Informed everyone that he is actually a time travel from 200 years in the future. By the way, this happened in 2003. He was offering all kinds of information in exchange for like a lesser punishment. Like he's like, hey, I'll tell you where Osama bin Laden is and I'll give you the cure for AIDS. What Andrew was not willing to do is explain the inner workings of his craft that he was traveling back and forth through time in. Interestingly enough, a mysterious person actually posted bail for Andrew and he was never seen again. Needless to say, he didn't make it to his court hearing. Official records actually don't show anything that proves that Andrew ever actually existed, but there's all kinds of news articles and many people remember this story happening, so it's kind of a Mandela effect in a way. But you know, it might have been in Andrew's best interest to, you know, lay low a little bit and maybe erase the official documents that were saying what actually happened. But also, with all that money, it would be pretty easy to make a lot of things disappear as well. So I need to know, what do you think is Andrew's deal? What's going on with him? And more importantly, people of TikTok, do any of you know this man? Because I would love to have a conversation, and I'm sure somebody out there has seen him. Hi.
Yeah, he ain't a time traveler. He's what you call a vampire. He probably been around here for 5,000 years. They exist, and he knows a lot. Trust me, because those people know a lot. But time travelers who can go to the future and all that don't exist. Point blank.
I saw a tweet today that said, I can't believe how many people don't know that Michael Jackson was acquitted of all charges and that he actually wasn't a child predator. And my first thought was, wait until these people learn about the Catholic Church. Might sound insane on the surface, but stick with me. In 1991, Tommy Mottola enters the chat in Michael Jackson's life when Michael Jackson re-upped his contract with Sony. And Tommy Mottola, as we all know, is very famously a part of that group of people that we're not allowed to talk about. In 1993, obviously inspired by the first Intifada, Michael Jackson is writing the song Palestine Don't Cry, and he's fighting with Mottola over getting it on the His Story album. Ultimately, Michael Jackson loses that battle, but he does manage to get They Don't Care About Us and Scream on the album, much to Mottola's dismay, complete with the lyrics that Michael was explicitly told to change and didn't. Now, when you're writing songs in favor of Palestine, obviously that will be viewed as being anti that group of people that we're not allowed to talk about. And of course, we all know that we're not allowed to be anti that group of people we're not allowed to talk about. And we certainly aren't allowed to be opposed to their expansion efforts. Not so coincidentally, 1993 is also the year that Michael Jackson is accused of being a child predator. The criminal investigation doesn't even turn up enough evidence to bring criminal charges, so it goes to a civil suit and is settled out of court. And of note, he was accused by a young man who was a member of that group of people that we're not allowed to talk about. And then like 10 years later, they tried to accuse him again, and he was acquitted of all charges yet again. And when they can't get you once or twice, they will allegedly get you the third time, because then in 2008, Michael Jackson tragically died of an overdose at the hands of a doctor who somehow still manages to have a medical license. But if that wasn't enough proof for you, Tommy Mottola appears in the Poopstein files over 1,000 times, most notably in 2019 when he helped Poopstein himself with a referral to a private investigation firm right before Poopstein was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges. But I'm sure that's all just a coincidence. If you're thinking, great, now we know all about MJ, but what does this have to do with the Catholic Church? Congrats, we have arrived. Picture it. The year is 2002. Pope John Paul II has been in the Vatican since 1978, and he was absolutely instrumental in the final downfall of communism in Eastern Europe. Now, if you know anything about the history of that group of people that we're not allowed to talk about, their country was actually started by a bunch of communist atheists. They hijacked their current reported religion to further their expansion agenda. These are their words, not mine. They were actually atheists, and they still operate as a communist country today, but they're masquerading as a capitalist country at the expense of United States taxpayer dollars. So we got this guy in the Vatican, and he's taken down the communists. And for those of you that don't know, the Catholic Church is actually one of the only institutions that is adamantly against and refuses to adopt the idea of the expansion project, we will call it, of that group of people that we're not allowed to talk about. So anyway, it's 2002, and wouldn't you know it, the newspaper that breaks open the story of all the scandal within the Catholic Church is actually a publication owned by the New York Times. And the New York Times is owned by the Ox Sulzberger family. And in case you can't tell by the name, they are obviously a member of the group of people that we're not allowed to talk about, which are also the group of people that quite literally control the porn industry, and also the people that are behind all the disgusting things that went on in the Poopstein files. So you can't tell me that it's a coincidence that that group of people with those ties just so happened to break open a massive story of abuse in an institution that goes against everything they stand for and that refuses to accept their Zionist agenda. So the next time you want to believe the lies about the Catholic Church, just remember the fact that all of Michael Jackson's victims came forward and said that they were lying. So there's that. I saw a tweet.
All I'm going to say is this. If you in the Catholic Church, please free yourself and come to Jesus Christ, because the Catholic Church is going to send a lot of people to hell. Straight up. I know this. We have many religions, but I'll tell you this right now. I know for a fact the Catholic Church is not the way to heaven. And that's a fact.
So I'm sure it's already been forgotten about at this point, but do y'all remember the Hulu documentary about the Nickelodeon show, and how there was obviously a lot of fetishes going on in the show, and then obviously Drake Bell getting assaulted, all those things, Amanda Bynes. There was a guy in that documentary, he had maybe like 10 minutes of airtime on the show of the documentary, and he was saying that the director that was hurting Drake Bell brought him into a studio and was boastful and showing him his painting of John Wayne Gacy and how he thought it was weird. And John Wayne Gacy even personally signed this painting, and he called him a friend. And the guy was like, so I thought that was a red flag.
Because I'm hearing some in the background, but it's her video. I'm like, man, this is my house. I'm tweaking.
Flag, super weird. Well, if you look at the Epstein files that were just newly put out to the public of the dentist room, if you look above the door, there is a face, like a clown mask, and then beside that clown mask is the face of John Wayne Gacy. I'll put it in the comments. And it's just something that I just happened to notice. And then there's obviously going around the Epstein Island splatter, or the Nickelodeon splatter, it looks like the Epstein Island. Like, and then they're going to call you crazy and say that you're a conspiracy theorist. Because they are actually paid conspiracy theorists out there to make up crazy conspiracies so that anyone that comes up or points something out, they're automatically called a conspiracy theorist and debunked almost automatically. Because the mind games that are going on in this world are out of control. I think it's time we open our eyes. Stop idol worshiping. Stop it. And then it's also like we all just forgot about the Balenciaga mess. Okay, because they had a campaign ad where there was a briefcase and the papers coming out of the briefcase were about legalizing virtual child pornography. And then they had children holding bears that were dressed in bondage with caution tape in the kids' bedrooms that misspelled Balenciaga, B-A-A-L, for ball. Okay? But I'm crazy. I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. Cardi B is doing ads, campaign ads, on a playground, half naked. And what's up with the face, the scratched up face? It is on Ben Stiller's paintings in his home. It's on Ellen DeGeneres' sweatshirt. It's on Jay-Z's t-shirt. You really expect me to believe that these celebrities aren't involved in this and they don't know what's going on? Oh, and look at the art of Jamie Lee Curtis. Look at the art that is displayed in her home while we're at it. You can't tell me these celebrities don't know nothing. You just can't. So I'm sure
they do. That's why y'all gotta stop worshiping celebrities, man. If you worship celebrities, I ain't hanging around because you weird. Weird people worship celebrities. You know what I'm saying? But this is the picture she was talking about. Yeah, that's pretty weird. But yeah, man, y'all gotta stop worshiping celebrities. Worship God and God only. You know what I mean? Through Jesus Christ.
What you must understand is, when you do sell your soul, you are allowed to live forever. And these people that are called youngins, rookies, new booties, like I was, had no idea that these people still live. They will prey, haunt, kidnap, anything to stay on top. This is their world. They have nothing but time, is what they believe. Now, who are we talking about? We're talking about everyone that's supposed to be dead. Like there is in the industry. In the industry. Okay. When you walk around with the fake face and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna open up. It's like this is not an industry.
Man, Orlando Brown was talking truth. It sounds crazy, but a lot of stuff he be saying be true.
What press?
From a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
There she is. This person approached Judy Resnick and attempted to politely engage with her regarding the Challenger shuttlecraft mission.
Hey, Judy. How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press?
From a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
There she is.
Friendly, just a question.
And there she goes.
So there's a lot of rumors about you being on that space shuttle. Obviously, if you want to comment, we would really appreciate it.
She dipped on it.
Unlike Michael J. Smith, who ended up basically having a full-fledged conversation with the individual, she just effed right off. Which, depending on your stance, could be evidence for or against. But it tends to lean on the side of eyebrow raising. So here they all are.
Pilot Mike Smith, followed by Krista McAuliffe, teacher in space, Ellison Onizuka, and payload specialist Greg Jarvis.
So one question that's been brought up a lot is that if they did show them entering the space shuttle, how did they get out? Where did they go? Because as you know, when it goes up, they would have to go somewhere, be tucked away somewhere pretty safe. And here's the answer to that question.
Once the crew are on board, if it looks as if they're in danger, they get out and head down this tube, specially insulated against fire, and zigzagging down not to some point out and away from the rocket, but to an escape room exactly where you'd think it shouldn't be.
3.5 minutes after they get the warning in the capsule, the crew could be down here in the blast escape room via that 200-foot escape tube, 40 feet below the base of the rocket.
Follow for part.
Well, y'all take from that what y'all think. You know what I mean?
The master, and as we believed through our research that the master was in fact Lucifer inside the earth, correlating with what we find out in the book of Job and other passages about things going on inside the earth. These occultists are communicating with the bottom feeders, the demons, and he's making the point that there are higher entities that his group was communicating with. This goes back to what Aleister Crowley made mention of, is that today they're masquerading as one thing, tomorrow they're going to masquerade as something else.
Yeah, you're speaking of the quote that Aleister Crowley made where he said, today they call them angels and demons, tomorrow they will call them something else.
Alien.
And he was direct contact with the Augustus Council of the Nine, and that ties right in with the Council of the Nine, that a lot of the upper echelon here in the United States, like the Depliants and so on, they were channeling these beings called the Council of the Nine.
Right. The last thing I need us to hit on here is Greg Renrich. There's a lot of mystique surrounding this guy because of the positions that he held in these top secret government organizations. What can you tell us about Greg Renrich?
Greg Renrich was a lieutenant colonel, but he held a very high level of top secret clearance, one that very few people actually hold. Groom Lake, Area 51. He's been inside down in the underground levels of S4, as well as Dulce, New Mexico. He has witnessed the 10-foot giants and said that they told him and referred to themselves as the Nephilim, said that they were preparing for an intergalactic war with God, and they believed that they were going to win.
Is this the gentleman who said that in these deep underground military bases that you're not even allowed to use the name Jesus as a cuss word?
That is correct. They made them sign an affidavit that said that not even in anger, even if they stubbed their toe, they were not allowed to use the name Jesus Christ in these underground tunnels.
Because the power in the name of Jesus, even if it's being used as a cuss word, when you're in the presence of these higher entities, it's going to create some type of a friction. So we're now dealing with another government official, if you want to use that terminology, a servant of the federal government, who was in the bases, deep underground, dealing with these alien entities that have already been deemed by other federal government projects to not be alien, but to be non-human, otherworld entities, interdimensional entities. And the Collins elite was trying to get answers to this years before. Am I understanding this correctly?
You're completely correct. And that
entity.
You know, the crazy thing is, he said this giant, right, Nephilim, so they're preparing for an intergalactic war with God. And they believe that they'll win. But they banned them from saying the name of Jesus. So you believe that you're going to win when you can't even handle the name of Jesus. But you think you can stand in the face of God. You can't even handle just the name. And you think you about to go and win. Man, please. You lost already. Lucifer, the devil, he was cast out. They lost. Because if he was the most powerful, he would have cast God out. So the fact that they think they're going to win, but they can't even stand in the presence of the name, shows you how delusional the devil is. You know what I mean? But I'm going to just say this. Y'all better be on the side of the one who already obtained the victory. That's God. And don't choose the other side because they defeated already. I'm just letting y'all know. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't it be crazy if a documentary team hired by the Discovery Channel discovered a child trafficking ring deep-rooted inside the American government back in 1988? Wouldn't it be crazy if this all started when Lawrence E. King, a political activist from Nebraska, was arrested on $40 million worth of tax fraud? Wouldn't it be crazy if funding for this documentary was pulled after connections were made between Boys Town church camps and recruiting of young men and women for special parties? Wouldn't it be crazy if, despite numerous cases of individual allegations, 2 separate congressional grand juries decided the entire thing was some elaborate, well-orchestrated hoax? Wouldn't it be crazy if they actually imprisoned some of the victims? Wouldn't it be crazy if the FBI and the CIA lost all the evidence in the Lawrence E. King case? Wouldn't it be crazy if Senator Lawrence Schmidt claims he was threatened on the floor of the legislature by an anonymous call? And wouldn't it be crazy if the investigator hired to look into this case died mysteriously in an airplane disintegration crash with this?
Wouldn't it be crazy, huh? That would be crazy.
Let me tell you all about a coincidence, and you all tell me if it's as wild as I think it is. Back in the 90s, when I was in high school, I was an extra on a couple of films, and one in particular was Snake Eyes, a film that starred Nicolas Cage. And do you want to know where I was an extra on that film? At the Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Okay? Do you want to know the plot of that movie? It involves an assassination of a politician named Charlie Kirkland. He was shot. The name of the person who shot Charlie Kirkland was named Lincoln Tyler. The tagline for the movie Snake Eyes: believe everything except your eyes. Does anyone else find that odd? Does anyone else find that odd? Let me.
Yeah, that's crazy. I think I did this video where they mentioned that movie. I need to check that movie out, but that is. It's kind of crazy.
Most insane internet rabbit holes that are oddly convincing, part 80,085. We are living on a giant motherboard, and ancient structures were built as circuit boards to harness the Earth's natural energy to power civilization. And it was neither humans nor aliens that came up with this. Oh, we deep in these weeds today, Custa. Why does this 13th century cathedral have the exact same pattern on its floor as this circuit board? We're not even talking kinda similar. This is a 1-to-1 perfect match. And this isn't just any circuit board, but one for a specific device called a Schumann resonator, a small low-frequency electronic device designed to generate electromagnetic radiation tuned to approximately 7.83 hertz, the exact frequency that the Earth's atmosphere vibrates at, called the Schumann resonances, or the heartbeat of the Earth. Frequencies that are said to be able to harness energy, free natural energy from the ether that these resonator devices attempt to mimic. This floor is from the Chartres Cathedral in France, built in 1220 AD. The Schumann resonances weren't discovered until the 1960s, and its related circuit board much later, yet somehow their patterns are literally identical, which could, in theory, imply that old structures like these may have been power plants that captured and transmitted these natural resonating frequencies of the Earth to power ancient societies, who possess lost esoteric knowledge of harnessing free energy from the Earth that they built all around the world. Giza pyramid power plant theories step aside. This is the world power plant theory. And the more we look, the more we see it everywhere. Repeating patterns in ancient sites around the world that almost precisely resemble computer circuit boards. From ancient Egyptian cities to those in ancient Mexico. From a bird's eye view, they all have very similar, extremely structured grid-like layouts to them that really do look like modern electronics. These are some insanely calculated measurements here, which they would never do just at random. Here's an aerial view of the ancient ruins in... oh, wait, no, never mind. That's just a dusty motherboard. This is an Egyptian pyramid next to a microprocessor, and the layout of an Osirian temple beside a computer chip. Now, I'm not saying this is real, just another insane rabbit hole that I'm laying out for you. But now, what if it was neither humans, nor past civilizations, nor even aliens that designed this? I'ma let this meme right here do the explaining.
What if God designed it? Because he did. God put everything in this earth. You know what I mean? Point blank. And God is you got to realize God is the greatest scientist. He put within the earth how to operate the earth. You know what I mean? And yeah, point blank.
You know what's scary is you ask someone from the 80s who's been alive 20 years, 30 years at that point, do you remember the skies being like this? And they say, oh yeah, they've always been like this. They haven't though. They haven't paid attention. Them skies were blue with big white fluffy clouds and a yellow sun. I used to draw it as a kid. It's why, because apparently the real sun's either gone, and this is an artificial sun. In 2015, they made, in 2015, they illuminated 12 artificial suns. Do you not think it gives off a different heat as well? Do you know what's scary?
That's weird. y'all think this is an artificial sun? Ain't no telling what these scientists did though. But I don't know. That's kind of crazy.
A brand new species of snake has been unearthed in India, and it may have been the largest snake to ever exist. Welcome back to Paleopedia, and meet Vasuki indicus, a ancient species of Matsoiid snake from India around 47 million years ago. The Matsoiid family of snakes existed for about 100 million years, starting in the late Cretaceous period. They eventually went extinct during the Pleistocene epoch, and they are now believed to have contained potentially the largest snake to have ever existed, Vasuki. Because it's such a new species, it's only believed that Vasuki indicus was a member of the Matsoiidae family of snakes, but the size estimates for it range between 36 to 50 feet in length. That puts it at about the same size as Titanoboa, the current record holder for the longest snake in the world, and Titanoboa existed about 10 to 12 million years earlier than Vasuki. Something important about that size estimate, and I appreciate that the author of this new discovery, Devajit Datta, I hope I pronounced that correctly, listed, is that due to the fragmentary remains of not just Vasuki but also Titanoboa, we don't know which one was bigger. Both species could have gotten longer than 50 feet. So was Titanoboa bigger? We don't know. Was Vasuki bigger? We don't know. We'll have to find more fossils to really know. This new discovery, though, is still important because it's such a massive snake so much later than the last massive snake lived. Titanoboa is believed to have been able to get as big as it did due to a couple of factors, specifically a very warm climate. Since snakes are cold-blooded and they have to use the sun's heat and the temperature to warm themselves up, they can be limited in size because of that. And the Earth 58 to 60 million years ago was a lot warmer than it is today. So
you mean to tell me it's a snake that big on the Earth? In India. Remind me to never go to India. That's crazy. Can you imagine seeing a snake? He said 30 to 50 foot long. That's crazy. And they said this is a new species. I don't know, man. I think they creating this stuff for real.
What is going on with the sun? Well, this is a group of sunspots, and they have been causing a lot of drama this week. Sunspots are regions of dense, complex magnetic field nestled in the surface of the sun, and this one is enormous. This is the Earth for scale here, so you can see just how large this structure is. Sunspots can cause solar flares. You can think of solar flares as the earthquakes of the sun. Here on Earth, we experience earthquakes. These are the build-up and release of frictional energy along Earth fault lines. And on the sun, solar flares are the build-up and release of magnetic energy around sunspots. So this week, with this very strong complex sunspot region, we have been experiencing frequent and strong solar flares, with some of the most powerful solar flares we've observed in recent years happening this week. So what does this mean for you? Well, it depends. Solar flares can trigger the eruption of plasma out into the solar system. If and when these arrive at Earth, we get a geomagnetic storm or a solar storm, which brings the northern lights down to lower latitudes, and same with the southern lights in the southern hemisphere too. They can also cause some temperamental technology problems, but we're not expecting anything dramatic from this. If anyone is telling you this is a doomsday scenario, ignore them. They don't know what they're talking about. But will we get anything like this from this sunspot group? The answer is maybe. Although this sunspot group has been releasing strong and powerful flares, none of these have had any strong eruptions associated with them. But this could change. This sunspot region is continuing to rotate to face Earth in the coming days, and if we do get an eruption of plasma at that point, then it is very likely we could experience some strong aurora events. But these eruptions may not happen. What could happen, and what certainly will happen, is strong solar flares are going to continue to originate from this region, but whether or not they will be directed towards Earth, that remains to be seen. Follow along for an update if you want a notification when anything is heading our way.
I don't know. I think that's how God might, when he come back, because he said he's coming back this time with fire. So that could be you know what I mean? It could be something of that nature when the end of the world comes. So, hey, just make sure y'all safe, because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, man. And I think Jesus is coming back soon.
As in AL is a transliteration of EL for an angel or a god. So it's the royals who set up all of the organizational structures around the world. The secret societies is probably the largest one, as it interconnects with other types of organizations, but it's the easiest way to understand how it works with the royals at the top, beginning with the 13 families in the West, not around the world, 13 families in the West. There's probably another 13 families around the world. And the 33 families underneath, and the Committee of 300 Families, with the Rosicrucians as that intersection between the purebloods and the rising lower bloodlines that come up through Freemasonry, Illuminati, into the Rosicrucians' bottom half as part of that thalamic tree trunk.
Is there a hierarchy for these things, like Illuminati, Freemasons, et
Yeah, I
cetera?
gave it to you, but I'll start from the bottom. Freemasonry at the bottom, Illuminati, Rosicrucian, Committee of 300 Families, Council of 33 Families, 13 families. Intersects into, there'd be, I'm not sure how many families of the 13 that are part of the worldwide one, but they are well represented.
Are those 13 families traceable back to the Nephilim?
Yes. They would keep their genealogies that go back into prehistory. They'll go back twofold. One to a Nephilim or a Rephaim patriarch or matriarch, and to one of the celestial mafia godfathers. So one of the fallen angels.
So we see who running the world. The world is ran by demons, man. Evil people. That's why we don't put no trust in the world or the people of the world. You know what I mean? Because they're going to fail you every time.
The movie Joanna, man, was about a male basketball player who entered into the WNBA as a female. And here we are 20 years later talking about, we're going to save that for later. It's called predictive programming. When you see something that happened back then that is currently happening now, that means they planned it in advance and years ahead of its time. Right? It ain't by no coincidence. And to prove it's not a coincidence, we're going to get into this gematria. Remember, I will teach you. Brittany equals 42 and Joanna equals 42.
Psionics, thank you. Yep. And where have we heard that word before? Disclosure, Jake Barber talking about how they use children with psionics for what? To call in UFOs, to bring them down.
Reverse engineering.
And what does that tie into? That ties into human because we were in a specific meeting with very in the know people. We had a private meeting, a couple, actually the three of us were in two different meetings within a few week period, where we have these meetings with these guys talking about the disclosure, what's coming, but also about human. They get a child, if the child's good looking and pretty, they put them into the, I don't know if I can say that. Corn. They put them in that industry as a, if they show they have psychic abilities, they then get put into the psionic program to do all that stuff.
That's the first thing they look for.
Right,
yeah.
that's the first thing they look for. And if they have neither, they use them for harvesting physical organs. That is what is happening in the human, which is why I talk about human so much. I'm friends with Troy Brewer, and right when I became friends with Troy Brewer, there were so many other people who came across my path who are fighting human that it's like, there's your sign, son. It's become a passion of mine. And I don't know where God's taken it. I don't know what the future holds with it. I hope God one day provides an opportunity for me to kick in a door and take care of business. That's how I feel inside about it. Yeah. You know, that's how I feel about it. It makes me so irate. I'm constantly talking to my kids about being safe. And my son had a checkup the other day. I'm sitting in the office, at the doctor's office with my son, and the doctor even spent time talking to my son about how he needs to make sure that he doesn't allow certain people, strangers, to ask him to do things physically that he doesn't feel comfortable. And he said, even if it's a doctor, he said, if your parents don't give the doctor the okay, the answer is always no. And I was like, thanks, Doc.
That's a great doc.
Yeah. I was like, thanks, Doc. Here's a tip. You know, like, I was like, that's good. Psionic.
That's cool. I mean, this right here, that's a good doctor. You know what I mean? But I think you should always pray over your family, over your kids, that they encounter doctors and things of that nature when you preparing your kids to go to certain places like that. But also pray every day for the victims of, the child T word and the adult T word. You know what I mean? Constantly pray every day that the perpetrators of the people who are doing these crimes are judged by God, and that they will, you know what I'm saying, receive the recompenses of what they're doing. And yeah, man, because this is just terrible.
A team of American researchers working in the high mountains of Turkey have uncovered what appear to be hidden tunnels similar to the descriptions of the biblical account of Noah's Ark.
Our next guest says his newly found evidence can prove that Noah's Ark did in fact exist, turning this biblical mystery into a reality. Joining us now from Turkey is one of those researchers from Noah's Ark Scans, Andrew Jones. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us and for all the good work that you're doing. This is fascinating. Tell us about your findings that could prove the real-life existence of Noah's Ark.
Thank you for having me on. Yes, greetings from the mountains of Ararat, where the Bible says the ark landed. I'm about 1 mile from the Iranian border, and in this remote area, this boat formation was discovered in 1959. But our new research has shown that there are tunnels about 4 meters down and about 2 meters high, going down the center of the boat and on the inside edge of the hull shape. And so we really believe that this layout showing tunnels and also possible support beams and walls would suggest that it's a man-made object and not just a natural formation.
Yeah, many geologists disagree with that. They say, look, this is just a natural formation. But gosh, Andrew, when I look at that, it doesn't look very natural to me. What's your response to those geologists?
Yeah, so first of all, you have to explain how did an earthen formation get into the shape of a ship, and then is exactly 300 cubits long, which is the length given in the book of Genesis in the Bible. And so we have the exact length, we have the ship shape, and we're in the right location. And now we're also seeing that the soil inside is different from right outside the formation. So we have 3 times more organic matter found inside versus right outside. So it's a distinct object and not just part of the mountainside.
Can you take your work underground and explore some of these tunnels to get a definitive answer?
That is the next goal. And we're really hoping that the Turkish universities will be able to do that. And so that's the plan, and that's what we've suggested. And we're even wanting to help with designing a robot that can go down into these tunnels and film and take samples.
I understand that your organization is called Noah's Ark Scans, which probably answers my next question for me. But in your heart of hearts, based upon all the time and all the effort that you have put into this, do you truly believe that you have found Noah's Ark?
Yes, I do believe that this is the real decayed, buried remains of Noah's Ark, the famous ship. And we're doing our best to convince the skeptics and show the world this site.
Is your goal scientific?
Well, man, if you believe that, that's cool. Because this is not a salvation issue. So I feel like we could have debates about these situations and not really get angry. Because like I say, it's not a salvation issue. As long as we all agree on Jesus Christ being Lord and Savior over our lives, and that we get through heaven through Him, everything is all good. We can argue and debate about all the other things. But me personally, I don't believe. I think they changed the maps. Me personally, like I say, this is not a salvation issue, so we should be able to debate about these things. Google where is the only place gopher wood grows. Google it. Ask yourself. And then in the scriptures, it says that Noah's Ark was built by gopher wood. Where is the only place gopher wood grows? It grows in Florida. I think where Jesus Christ walked was the USA. I think what we call the Holy Land, which is Israel, I think it's America. That's what I believe. Like I say, it's not a salvation issue, so it's not nothing that is. If you don't agree with it, that's cool. If you agree with it, it's cool. We can debate about these things. But what's most important is that we all know Jesus Christ. And I always give everybody an opportunity to come to Jesus Christ at the end of all of my videos. And it's a very, very simple process. All you have to do is believe in your heart and proclaim with your mouth that he came down here and saved us from our sins. I'm going to tell you right now, this channel, you guys seeing me, none of this stuff would be possible if Jesus Christ had not come down and saved me. It wouldn't be no need for me to have an audience if I wasn't proclaiming the name of Jesus Christ. It would be worthless for me to be here before you guys if I didn't know Christ and that I didn't proclaim his name. He's the only reason that we are all here. He's the only reason that we have a purpose to live this life. And if you don't know him, I'm telling you, get to know him. And I promise you, your life will be changed forever. But hey, once you said that prayer, go find you a church, get baptized in the name of Jesus Christ and ask him to fill you with his Holy Spirit. Man, watch the peace that you experience. Watch the purpose that you come upon, because he's going to give you purpose. He's going to show you why you are here. Some of you are going through life like you don't even know why you're here. It's because y'all have not experienced or connected yourselves to the Creator, because true purpose comes from your connection to the Creator. He's the true vine. The Bible says once you come to him, you will bear much fruit. But you have to be connected to the vine in order to bear the fruit. And Jesus Christ is that vine. Connect to him and watch how the fruit just explode in your life. But hey, tell me what you guys think about that video. And also, if you've come to Christ through this video, if you've come to Christ through this message that I'm giving you guys, put it in the comments as well, man. I would like to see how many people experience Christ through this channel. But yeah, man, see you guys next video. And always remember, be safe out here, kings and queens. Let's get it.